Hello and welcome to the 2020 Blue Line Magazine Virtual Symposium. My name is Boris Milinkovic and I am the CEO and Training Director of True North Tradecraft. True North Tradecraft is a small boutique specialized security consulting firm, and one of the things that we offer is training for both civilian and restricted training for military and law enforcement groups in non-destructive covert methods of entry. So what this is being able to make an entry for an operator into a building or a complex without destruction, without compromising the actual locking mechanisms, and being able to still get through the security perimeters. Now, when we teach covert methods of entry and covert entry concepts, what we're trying to do is not only build a skill set for the operator, but also to be able to create a deep understanding of physical security principles. This extends from institutional, commercial, residential aspects in any kind of place that a security officer or a police officer might have to actually attend. This also extends to any emergency responders or first responders, landlords, architects, anything like that. So when we teach to civilian groups or open enrollment, what we're doing is we're looking for ways to create that understanding of how security and architecture and locking mechanisms work. Our society is built on locks, on access control concepts, and understanding those machinations gives us a better grasp of what we can and cannot do. From the law enforcement side of things, understanding how those systems are implemented and how they are compromised by criminal elements allows us to identify them when we're conducting either an inspection of a site or when we're doing a security assessment. We can find those gaps more readily, and then we have the knowledge to be able to close those gaps or to take steps to mitigate those openings. So how we teach it is very hands-on. We sit down, we go through the entire process, and we start showing you the different mechanisms that locks are based on. So everything from like your regular deadbolts and handles to padlocks of various kinds, cabinet locks, and different locking mechanisms. And once you understand how they work, we actually get you in there and we start teaching you the skills of lock picking, lock bypassing, and various other methods of entry to bypass those locking mechanisms and those security mechanisms so that you can gain access. Now, why would we be teaching this? So from a civilian standpoint, everything that one can know, be it a homeowner, a building landlord, project manager for a construction company, anything like that, having knowledge of the mechanisms that enforce security is very important. When you need to actually gain access to things that you have responsibility for, you're able to do so if you don't have the key. Now, on the military and law enforcement side, our content is more restrictive if we're contracted by one of those entities, and we will teach stuff that we don't necessarily teach to the civilian population. So there's more out there. But the reason that it would be useful to those groups is first and foremost being able to reduce costs for things like welfare checks. If you're sent to a welfare check, instead of smashing a door or a window, you're able to affect the lock and make entry without damage for almost the same amount of time, for a minute or so, and you should be able to still make entry, still accomplish the objective. But unless it's an exigent circumstance where you have to actually destroy your way in, you can take the minute or so and actually effect an entry and still have all the mechanisms working. That saves keeping someone off the site. You don't have to put someone on the door. You don't have to replace the door. You don't have to call a locksmith or a carpenter to have everything replaced, or a window. Save the city and the department a lot of money, but at the same time, it puts people back on the road, and it doesn't inconvenience the homeowner or the business owner. So it's a really great thing to have, and it stays in your kit. You carry it with you all the time. Knowledge weighs nothing, and that's something that you can carry not just on the beat, but throughout your career. And depending on who you are, whether if you're in a detective unit or something like that, or working undercover, or even a tactical unit, all of those can be leveled up with that skill set without calling a specialist. So it's something that with a small kit you can actually make a big change. It's very much a force multiplier in that way. So it's safe, it's effective. Sure, things can break, but if they're going to break, it's going to be very, very rare when it happens. But once we show you how to use the tools properly and where they can be obtained, and of course we're able to source any and all equipment for those groups. It ends up saving you money. So one officer who learns it once, who has the kit, can carry that through their career, can go from patrol to detective to undercover to something else, to be a shift supervisor and all that, and have that skill set down the line available, and constantly get better at it and get better at it. So being able to have that and less damage to structures is really a value added. And the long-term skill set is transferable. It ends up being useful in so many different ways. And also having the understanding of how these systems are compromised allows for better investigative methods and knowledge down the line. So if you're working a B&E, you will have a deeper understanding of how and why people are able to get past these systems and these mechanisms, and be able to even forensically examine were certain methods used. And that will give you a better idea of the type of person that you're dealing with who's actually made these entries. So these sorts of skills, very useful, long-term payoff for a short-term investment, and any kind of equipment that needs to be sourced for a specialty situation, we can be consulted on that as well. But we do run these courses on a annual basis, or a few times during the year. And also, if your department or your group is looking for a specific contract to have us come in and teach it, we can certainly work with that. So any questions, feel free to go to truenorthtradecraft.ca or reach out to us at info@truenorthtradecraft.ca. Also, we're on Instagram and Facebook at True North Tradecraft. Again, my name is Boris Milinkovich, Training Director here at True North Tradecraft. Thank you very much for your time, and enjoy the rest of the symposium.